Hello world, if you're just joining us for the first time, I'm Brett Adams from the One Family, One World channel. We are a family of 5 traveling the world. We started in Central America, moved to South America, and then we're headed to Fiji. So thanks for joining us. In this video, you'll see us traipsing through Ecuador. We start out in Old Town Quito, seeing the sights there, beautiful section of the city, and we did some other touristy things around Quito as well. And then we headed toward Cuenca, a colonial city more located centrally in Ecuador. We enjoyed the many churches in Old Town Quito, also seeing the plazas there, seeing the street performers, and just viewing that section of the city, and we felt like we were out and about with a lot of other families. The Telferico outside of Quito is a little bit of an interesting experiment from the government. They built a gondola up to the top of the ridge, and they built restaurants and other shop spaces, and they envisioned a big local and tourist scene, and it did not fully come to fruition. The gondola is great, and the view is of course beautiful from the top, but some of the other stuff didn't quite end up happening. So anyway, we took the gondola up towards the top, where there's a beautiful lookout to see the volcanoes. After checking out those volcanoes, we headed out towards a big giant swing. It's a lot of fun for the kids and the adults. And as we continued on our hike towards Pichincha, we came across some horseback riding. And so the kids loved that.
I'm gonna ride a horse.
We hopped on there, and boy, is that the way to travel in the mountains. Just sitting back and looking around. So we really enjoyed the horseback riding. Hi, girls.
Lunch in the gondola on the way down.
Below the gondola is a cute little amusement park and a lot of small rides for little children, and it also had some bigger roller coasters in the back that the girls enjoyed. So if you're at the Telferico, make sure you go down to the amusement park and check it out.
Going around the world.
The equator, of course, runs through Ecuador, and Mitad Del Mundo is a monument towards that. Mitad meaning middle or half, mundo meaning world. So they have this line set up right there in Mitad Del Mundo, and you can stand with 1 foot in the northern hemisphere and 1 foot in the southern hemisphere. So the monument's great, bit of a lookout, but it also has a lot of information about indigenous people in Ecuador, and also a lot of information about the engineering and surveying that went into really figuring out exactly where the equator was.
Sabine is in the southern hemisphere. Siri is in the northern hemisphere. Sawyer is split.
It's Ecuadorian popcorn. You can do it, Daddy.
After Quito, we headed toward Cuenca. Cuenca is located more in the center of Ecuador and has a lot of colonial architecture from strong Spanish influence in the city. So you have the plazas set up and the churches. We enjoyed a hop-on, hop-off double-decker bus tour around the city and a lot of other sites in Cuenca.
stop double-decker bus tour of Cuenca.
In Cuenca, we also went to the Hat Museum, the Panama Hat Museum, which might sound funny because we're in Ecuador, but the Panama hat originated in Ecuador. Known as a Panama hat because of its original point of origin for shipping. They left Ecuador and went to the Isthmus of Panama before being on boats towards Asia or being on boats towards the United States. This is a UNESCO Cultural Heritage tradition, and it was also really cool to go to this hat museum.
Here they have aluminum molds for making Panama hats. Hat molds, hat presses. This is where they make a whole bunch that have been woven but haven't been put in the press. Perfect, Sabine. Perfect. Ooh, Sawyer. Do you like that one?
At Pumapungo, we got to see our first set of Incan ruins. The site was destroyed, but not by the Spanish, like much of the other Incan sites, but it was destroyed after infighting between some tribes. Originally, Pumapungo was a military fort. It was also storage for grain. So we enjoyed seeing the stone foundations, and they also had a recreated Incan building there as well.
A sort of tunnel that leads into a room. We're not really sure what this is. I see a city.
You see the city?
I see a city.
A little bit outside of Cuenca is Las Cajas National Park. This park is pretty famous for hiking. There's a lot of hiking trails there, and it's quite high elevation if you're not used to it. It's a few thousand feet higher than the city of Cuenca. So you have elevations of 10, 12, 13, 14,000 feet. We went up into Las Cajas to do some hiking. The trails are very well laid out, nicer than some of the trails that I've hiked in the United States. Great maps and friendly, helpful staff that are there so you can pick a route. And the one we picked was beautiful, but pretty challenging. We went up over a 14,000 foot peak, but all of our kids were great hikers. Sawyer rode in the backpack the whole way, but everybody did a great job. And we also got to see some alpacas in the wild, which was very cool.
Alpacas just on the side of the trail. We're doing Route 2.
Daddy, wait.
4 hours, very difficult. Up in the high mountains. On our way to hike this big boy.
We made it.
And we stopped off for a little snack break. Everybody's doing well. Cruising on up. How's the folks, Sawyer?
Oh, good. Good. I'm glad found the RP is going to the
We made it to the top. Oh, we're up in the clouds. Woo. I made it.
I'm a good hiker.
I'm a good hiker.
Oh, I'm a good hiker. Yay! My hands are freezing.
All right, my ladies, turn around and give me a smile. Good job. Good hike. Over 13,000